Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vṛndāvaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So here we are in Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrta, and we were discussing 17th chapter. We were talking about the Lord travels to Vṛndāvana, and last session we ended up at a very beautiful point where we saw that how different animals, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has become so popular among animals, and animals have developed love of Godhead. And they are like not only coexisting and tolerating each other, but hugging and kissing each other. So that is what was happening in the Jharikhanda forest, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was seeing different animals and instructing them to chant Hare Krishna, say Hari Bol, say Hare Hari, and the animals were jumping in ecstasy. So we are in this chapter. We have already completed the second section, which is from verse number 21 to 56. So we have already completed, I think, till verse 43 or 44. So we will continue. Lord Chaitanya passes through the Jharikhanda forest. Mayuradi pakhi gana prabhure dekhiya Sange chale Krishna boli nache matahana. Various birds, including the peacock, saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to follow him, chanting and dancing. They were all maddened by the holy name of Krishna. When the Lord loudly chanted Hari Bol, the trees and creepers became jubilant to hear him. So the peacocks, various birds, various animals, even the trees and the creepers, they were becoming jubilant when they see or when they have darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jharikhande sthavara jangamachayata Krishna nama diya koila premite unmata. Thus all living entities in the forest of Jharikhanda, some moving and some standing still, became maddened by hearing the holy name of Lord Krishna vibrated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw these different animals and the plants. So it is mentioned moving and some standing still. So different living entities, they were in different bodies. So as we can see in this picture, different types of animals, and if we see behind the plants and the trees, so right from elephant till tiger to monkey to all the other animals, everybody was like becoming very, very happy and ecstatic in Krishna Prema. And who was observing all this? So Balabhadra Bhattacharya was there. If you can see in the picture, he's standing behind. So he's there and he's watching and he's completely astonished. So actually, Srila Prabhupada writes there in the purport that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was having a conversation with Haridas Thakur, and they were discussing that how these trees and plants could be delivered. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his name is Mahavadanyaya. He is the most munificent, the most merciful incarnation. So he is not only concerned about human beings, but also animals, and not only animals, even the plants and trees. So he was wondering, and there Haridas Thakur replies that by loudly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not only the trees, but the insects and all the other living entities, whoever hears this would be benefited by such chanting, by such loud chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Ye gram diya yana yaha karin sthiti se sabhagra mera loker hoya prema bhakti. In all the villages through which the Lord passed and in all the places he rested on his journey, everyone was purified and awakened to ecstatic love of God. Kehayadi tanra mukhe shune Krishna naam, tanra mukhe ana shune, tanra mukhe an. Sabe Krishna Hari bole, nache kande hase, Paramparai Vaishnava ila Sarvadeshe. Sarvadeshe, Vaishnava ila Sarvadeshe. Everywhere, wherever he was passing, everybody was becoming Vaishnava. So how was it happening? When someone heard the chanting of the holy name from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and someone else heard this chanting from the second person, and someone again heard this chanting from the third person, everyone in all countries became a Vaishnava through such disciplic succession. So we all understand the disciplic succession, that Supreme Lord gave this instruction to one person, and then Brahma gives it to Narad, and Narad gives to Vyas. So this is how the disciplic succession travels. So similarly here we are seeing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Hare Krishna Mahamantra to one person. This first person goes and gives it to the second person. Second person goes and tells it to the third person. And all of them are becoming Vaishnavas in disciplic succession, directly starting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So thus everyone chanted the holy name of Krishna and Hari, and they danced, cried and smiled. Yadyapi Prabhu Loka Sanghate Ratarase Prema Gupta Karena Bahirena Prakashe. The Lord did not always manifest his ecstasy. Being afraid of a great assembly of people, the Lord kept his ecstasy concealed. So he does not share with everyone that what ecstasy he is experiencing. So we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined incarnation of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna, and he has appeared to taste that ecstasy which is experienced by Srimati Radharani. So constantly Mahaprabhu is feeling that ecstasy, but he keeps it concealed because not everyone can understand it. Tathapi Tandra Darshana Shravana Prabhave Sakala Deshera Loka Hoila Vaishnave. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not manifest his natural ecstatic love, everyone became a pure devotee simply by seeing, and hearing him. So just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and even if they are not able to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu physically, just by hearing from somebody else, people were becoming such amazing devotees of the Lord who were in complete ecstasy. So they were attaining Krishna Prem. So actually the same power is manifested. So what Chaitanya Charitamrta we are reading, it is coming in that disciplic succession. So we are also directly hearing it in a way from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because it is connected to us through this disciplic succession. So if we have faith, like Mahaprabhu says, that the only currency to get it is faith. So if we have faith in this Chaitanya Charitamrta, then we all will also attain the same destination what all these devotees were experiencing. The natural ecstatic love would be awakened just by faithful Shravan of Chaitanya Charitamrta. So as it says, Darshana Shravana Prabhav. So just by Shravan also we can actually perfect our lives. Gaudabanga Utkala Dakhina Deshe Giya Lokera Nistara Koila Pane Brahmiya. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally toured Bengal, East Bengal, Orissa and the southern countries, and he delivered all kinds of people by spreading Krishna consciousness. Mathura yai bar chale asen jhari khanda bhilla praya loka taha parama pashanda. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Jharikhanda, on his way to Mathura, he found that people there were almost uncivilized and were devoid of God consciousness. So here the word mentioned is Bhilla Praya Loka. So Bhilla refers to a particular kind of humans, like the Bhil. They are basically the tribals. They stay in the forest and they are considered even outside the Shudras. So like we had this Vedic classification of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So Bhil is that Jati or Prajati which comes even outside the Shudra community. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was meeting such people also. So they were completely uncivilized and they were devoid of God consciousness. Nama prema diya koila sabar nistara Chaitanyera gudha lila bujite shaktikara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave even the Bhils an opportunity to chant the holy name and come to the platform of ecstatic love. Thus, he delivered all of them. Who has the power to understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord? So as we see, as we were saying, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanyaya. He is the most munificent. So he does not use any criteria that, okay, my mercy can be given to such and such people only, or only the Brahmanas, or only the Kshatriyas, or only the rich people, or only the educated people can receive the mercy. He is meeting one and all, right from animals to plants to creepers to beels to everyone practically, and he is giving this holy name. Vana dekhi brahma haya ei Vṛndāvana Shaila dekhi mane haya ei Govardhana. So this is the consciousness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu was passing through this Jharikhand forest, so wherever he would see the forest, actually, what thoughts would come to him? He was reminded of Vṛndāvana, and not only reminded, here it says Brahmahaya. So he mistook it. He thought that it is actually Vṛndāvana. And Shaila dekhi, any Shila, any hill he was seeing, and what he was thinking, that this is Govardhan. He would take it for granted that this is Vṛndāvana and this is Govardhan. Yaha nadi dekhe taha manaye kalindi Mahaprema veshe nache Prabhu pade kandi. Similarly, whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw a river, he immediately accepted it as the river Yamuna. Thus, while in the forest, he was filled with great ecstatic love and he danced and fell down crying. So Mahaprabhu, of course, he is the Supreme Lord himself, and he can display such wonderful consciousness where Any forest is reminding him of Vṛndāvana, any hill is reminding him of Govardhan, any river is reminding him of Kalindi or Yamuna. Unfortunately, when we are actually there in Vṛndāvana and we do not connect to that place, we have to put in so much of effort and remind ourselves that we are in Vṛndāvana. And here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherever he is, he's carrying Vṛndāvana in his heart and he's seeing everything as Vṛndāvana. So now we will enter into the next section where Balabhadra Bhattacharya gets lots of mercy. How? Because his service pleases Lord Chaitanya. Pathayaite Bhattacharya Shaka Mula Phala Yaha Ye Payen Taha Laena Sakala. Along the way, Balabhadra Bhattacharya collected all kinds of spinach, roots and fruit whenever possible. So they were actually traveling through the forest, so not much opportunity was there to find proper things for Mahaprabhu to eat. So whenever he would see some spinach or some root and fruit, so he would collect that. Ye grame rahe na prabhu tathaya pramana Panch Sat Jana Asi Kore Nimantrana. So this is the Vedic culture. This is our culture. What would happen is, whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited a village, a few Brahmanas, 5 or 7, would come and extend invitations to the Lord. So they would not know the Lord, but just there was so much respect for a sannyasi. So when they would see that a sannyasi is coming that side, so they would automatically go and invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu was traveling through this forest, so in between some small little villages would come and there Mahaprabhu would get personal invitations. Keha anna ani deya bhattacharya sthane Keha dugdha dodhi keha ghrita khanda ane. Some people would bring grain and deliver it to Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Others would bring milk and yogurt, and still others would bring ghee and sugar. So some people would invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then when he would go, they would hand over the ingredients, and actually Balabhadra Bhattacharya would cook for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So all the essential ingredients, be it grains or milk or yogurt or ghee or sugar, everything was delivered to Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Yahave pranahitaha shudra mahajana Asi sobe bhattacharye kore nimantrana. In some villages, there were no Brahmanas. Nonetheless, devotees born in non-Brahmin families came and extended invitation to Balabhadra Bhattacharya. So here we see a beautiful phrase is used there, Shudra Mahajan. So a person may not be of a very high birth. I mean, Brahminical birth is considered to be high class birth. So he would not be by caste or by class a high ranking person. He would be a Shudra. But what is the peculiar thing about him is that he is a devotee. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would accept food in the houses of such Shudra Mahajan also. So those devotees who are raised to the platform of Brahmanas by their initiation. So they follow the process, they follow the spiritual process, they take Diksha or initiation. And such people, though they are born of lower caste, yet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would personally accept food from them. So Mahaprabhu would not discriminate. So we see a striking contrast here. So the Mayavadi sannyasis, they would accept invitation only from a Brahmana family. And a Vaishnava sannyasi or a Vaishnava would accept invitation from a non-Brahmin person also, provided that person is a devotee. And if the person is not a devotee, then no matter what is the caste, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not accept food from him. Bhattacharya Paka Kore Vana Vyanjana Vanya Vyanjane Prabhura Anandita Mana. Balabhadra Bhattacharya used to cook all kinds of vegetables gathered from the forest, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to accept these preparations. Dui chari dine ranna rakhe na samhati yaha shunyavana loke nahi ka vasati taha sei anna bhattacharya kore paka Phala mule vyanjan kare vanyanana shak. Balabhadra Bhattacharya used to keep a stock of food grain that would last from 2 to 4 days. Where there were no people, he would cook the grain and prepare vegetables, spinach, roots, fruits collected from the forest. So he was very nicely and meticulously organizing this whole kitchen thing for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he would keep certain stock because while on the go, I mean, they were traveling, so there was no certainty. And because as we read in the last session that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took a inside road, he is not going through the proper, through the proper cities and the proper roads which were constructed, but he was going through the forest. So there was no certainty of finding any food. So that is why he was managing all the things fairly well. परम संतोष प्रभुर वन्य भोजने महासुख पाना ये दिन रहे ना निर्जने. The Lord was always very happy to eat these forest vegetables, and he was even happier when he had an opportunity to stay in a solitary place. So not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like people, but then when he was in a solitary place, that was very suitable for his absorption in his mood of Srimati Radharani. So that is how he would be very happy the days when he was solitary, and he was completely satisfied with whatever vegetables were available to him and however Balabhadra Bhattacharya was serving him. Bhattacharya seva kare snehe yaiche dasa Tanra vipravahe jala patra bahir vasa. So we remember that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that I will take just one person with me and he should not be somebody who's who's known to me. So then it was decided that Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he's a very simple Brahmana, and he would come. And then there was another request. So the Lord was requested to take one assistant also. So here is the mention of that assistant Brahmana. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya was so affectionate to the Lord that he was rendering service just like a menial servant. His assistant Brahman carried the water pot and garments. Now this assistant Brahmana, he is completely satisfied in his service. Like we don't even see his name being mentioned there. And yet he is so completely satisfied because he was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was also personally witnessing all what was going on there in Jharikhanda. Nirjhare te ushnodake snan teen bar Dui sandhya agni tapa kasthera apara. The Lord used to bathe 3 times a day in the warm water of the waterfalls. He also used to heat himself morning and evening with a fire made with the limitless wood. So when I was reading this particular text, and I was also like wondering whether it is cold or hot, because it is mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would take bath in the warm water. So the waterfall had warm water. So appears it is not winters, because how otherwise the water would be hot. But then it is also mentioned he used to heat himself morning and evening with a fire made with limitless wood. So it is a little achintya for me too. Nirantar prema vese nirjane gamana Sukha anubhavi prabhu kahena vachana. While traveling in this secluded forest and feeling very happy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the following statement. Shuna Bhattacharya ami gelan bahu desha Vanapathe dukher kaha nahi pailesha. My dear Bhattacharya, I have traveled very far through the forest and I have not even slightly received any trouble. So I have been traveling and I have not received any trouble. Krishna kripalu amaye bahut kripa koila Vanapathe ani amaye bada sukha dila. Krishna is very merciful, specially to me. He has shown his mercy by bringing me on this path through the forest. Thus he has given me great pleasure. So he is very happy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so happy, and he is like sharing his heart in confidence. So he's expressing his gratitude towards the Supreme Lord for bringing him through the forest path. And this path is giving him great pleasure. Purve Vṛndāvana yaite korilan vichara Mata Ganga Bhakta Gane Dekhe Bekabara. Before this, I decided to go to Vrindavan and on the way see my mother, the river Ganges and other devotees once again. So he had this plan before and he is telling this to Balabhadra Bhattacharya. Bhaktagana sange avash kariba milana Bhaktagane sange lana yaba Vṛndāvana. I thought that once again I would see and meet all the devotees and take them with me to Vrindavan. So this was Mahaprabhu's plan, that not only he would meet all the devotees, but he will take all the devotees to Vrindavan. Eta bhavi gauda deshe karilu gamana Mata Ganga bhakti dekhi shukhi haila mana. So what happened? Thus I went to Bengal and I was very happy to see. So he is mentioning three things which gave him so much of happiness. Mata, which means Mother Shachi. Ganga, the river Ganges, because it is not there in Puri. So Mahaprabhu sees Ganga in West Bengal when he goes there. And Bhakt, or the devotees. So he saw all of them and he was very happy. However, when I started from Vrindavan, many thousands and millions of people gathered and began to go with me. See, Mahaprabhu himself said in the previous verse that I wanted to go take them all. So, of course, whoever heard, they all joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sanatana mukhe Krishna ama shikhaila Taha vigna karivana pathelana aila. In this way, I was going to Vrindavan with a big crowd. But through the mouth of Sanatan, Krishna taught me a lesson. Thus, by making some impediments, he has brought me to Vrindavan on the path through the forest. So, I'm sure we all remember that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu intended to go and Sanatan Goswami told him that this is not very appropriate to go to Vrindavan with such huge number of people accompanying you. This would be a distraction, and especially the Mughal rulers, they would not be okay with that. So, Sanatan Goswami could see it as an impediment in Mahaprabhu's Vrindavan Yatra, and he sort of humbly cautioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at that time Mahaprabhu did not take any action, but then later he thought, and that's why he goes back to Jagannath Puri, and then after a few months again he has started towards Vrindavan. Kripara samudra dina hine doya maya Krishna kripa vina kona sukha nahi haya. Krishna is an ocean of mercy. He is specially merciful to the poor and fallen. Without his mercy, there is no possibility of happiness. So I would request all of us to memorize this verse, to take a screenshot, save it. Remember, this is Chaitanya Charitamrta, Madhya Lila, chapter 17, verse number 75, where Mahaprabhu himself is saying, Kripara Samudra. Krishna is ocean of mercy. Kripa ke samudra hai. Dina hine daya maya. And he is specially merciful to whom? Dinahin, those who are poor and those who are fallen. Krishna kripa vina kona shukha nahi haya. Without his mercy, there is no possibility of happiness. So we keep making efforts to be happy, leaving Krishna apart. So we want to gratify our senses and derive certain happiness for our senses, leaving Krishna out of the equation. But here it is, Krishna kripa vina kona shukha nahi hoya. There is no possibility. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying that. Bhattacharya alingiya tahare kohila Tomar prasade ami eta sukha paila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then embraced Balabhadra Bhattacharya and told him, it is only by your kindness that I am now so happy. So isn't that wonderful, that embrace from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Mahaprabhu is so pleased that he is embracing Balabhadra Bhattacharya and thanking him. Teho kahe na tumi Krishna tumi daya maya Adham jiva muni more hoila sadaya. Balabhadra Bhattacharya replied, My dear Lord, you are Krishna himself, and therefore you are merciful. I am a fallen living entity, but you have bestowed a great favor upon me. Muni char more tumi sangelana aila, Krupa kori mora hate prabhu bhikha koila. Sir, I am most fallen, yet you have brought me with you, showing great mercy. You have accepted food prepared by me. So he is feeling so blessed that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is actually living in such intimate relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where only he and Mahaprabhu is there, and he is personally cooking, and whatever he is cooking, Mahaprabhu is accepting, and not only accepting, but he is very pleased with his services. Adham kakere koila garud samana, Swatantra Ishvara tumi swayam bhagavana. You have made me your career Garuda, although I am no better than a condemned crow. So I am a crow, and what you have done, you have given me the position of Garuda Saman. Thus, you are the independent personality of Godhead, the original Lord. So, Balabhadra Bhattacharya is not feeling proud and puffed up. Hey, look, I am the privileged one. I am with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is not feeling like that. What he is saying that I am like a crow. And a crow is a condemned bird that way. So, he is saying I am like a crow, but you are giving me the position of a Garuda. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. So this is a quotation from Bhavartha Deepika on the commentary, Bhavartha Deepika commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 1.1.1. And this means the Supreme Personality of Godhead has the form of Satchidananda Vigraha, transcendental bliss, knowledge and eternity. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him who turns the dumb into eloquent speaker. Mukam karoti vachalam. Mukam means dumb. Dumb becomes a very eloquent speaker and enables. Whom does he enable? Pangum langayate girim. Pangum is a handicapped person, a lame person. And langayate girim. Girim is the mountain. So he empowers a dumb person to become an eloquent speaker and enables a lame to cross mountains. So such is the mercy of the Lord. Emat Balabhadra kore nastavana, prema seva kori tushta koila prabhurmana. In this way, Balabhadra Bhattacharya offered his prayers to the Lord. By rendering service unto him in ecstatic love, he pacified the Lord's mind. So getting into the next section, now we will see that en route Vṛndāvana, Mahaprabhu has crossed Jharif Khanda and now he will reach Varanasi and he'll stay there for some days also. Emat nana sukhe Prabhu aila Kashi, Madhyana snana koila manikarnikaya asi. Finally, the Lord arrived with great happiness at the holy place called Kashi. There, he took his bath in the bathing ghat known as Manikarnika. So now this Manikarnika ghat is a famous ghat of Kashi or Varanasi. And there are different opinions as how this name Manikarnika comes. So actually there is a mention that Lord Vishnu's earrings, it actually fell on this place. So Manikarnika, Karn is the ear. So earring of Lord Vishnu, and that is how it gets the name Manikarnika. The other meaning is some devotees say there that it is because of Lord Shiva's, the earring fell from Lord Shiva. So there is a contradiction there. It is not sure whether it is Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu, but the earring has fallen there and that is why this place is known as Manikarnika Ghat. So this place Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu took bath. Sei kale topan mishra kore ganga snana, Prabhu dekhi hoila tanra kichu vismay jnana. At that time, Tapan Mishra was taking his bath in the Ganges, and he was astonished to see the Lord there. So Tapan Mishra wasn't expecting the Supreme Lord to be crossing and bathing next to him in the same river. So he sees him and he was astonished. पूर्वेषु नियाची प्रभु कार्य छेन संन्यास निश्चय करिया होइला हृदये उल्लास. Tapan Mishra then began to think, I have heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu has accepted the renounced order. Thinking this, Tapan Mishra became very jubilant within his heart. So he saw Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was in the dress of a sannyasi and he was taking bath. So then he connected the dots and he was reminded that yes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas, so this must be him. Prabhur charana dhari kare narodana Prabhu tare uthana kaila lingana. He then clasped the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. The Lord raised him up and embraced him. Prabhula nagela vishveshwara darashane Tabe asi dekhe bindu madhav charane. Tapan Mishra then took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to visit the temple of Vishveshwar. Coming from there, they saw the lotus feet of Lord Bindu Madhav. So Bindu Madhav is actually the oldest temple of Lord Vishnu in Varanasi, and this temple had the deities of the four-handed Narayan and goddess Lakshmi. And in front of the deities is the Garuda, and along on the side is Sita, Ram, Lakshman and Hanumanji deity. So this temple was there, and then later on it was actually demolished because of the Mughals conquered that part also. So it was non-existent, and then again, like some time later, it is reconstructed. So actually this temple was demolished and there was a mosque which was constructed there. But now next to the mosque, another temple is established for Bindu Madhav. घरेला न आयला प्रभु के आनंदित हाना सेवा करी नृत्य करे वस्त्र उड़ाना. So he is so happy. He has found the treasure of his life, and he brings him home. So with great pleasure, Tapan Mishra brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and rendered service unto him. Indeed, he began to dance waving his cloth, Vastra Udana. So he was wearing this chadar and he started like throwing it and waving it and dancing in ecstasy. Prabhura charanodaka savamshe kailpana Bhattacharyar puja koila koriya samana. He washed the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and afterwards he and his whole family drank the wash water. He also worshipped Balabhadra Bhattacharya and showed him respect. So now when the sannyasis visit, then when the Vaishnava sannyasi visit, we are actually supposed to do the Pad Puja or worshipping his lotus feet. So that is what he did. And this water which has washed the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is actually the top class Abhishek. So that is why the whole family, they drank this water. And he is not neglecting Balabhadra Bhattacharya. So I mean, sometimes it may happen that some very, let's say some celebrity visits our home and we get so overwhelmed that we forget that he has some assistant and some manager and etc, etc, etc. We become so absorbed with the celebrity itself. So here he is worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he is worshipping Balabhadra Bhattacharya also appropriately. So that is why the Supreme Lord and the servant of the Lord, both are very, very important, not just the master. प्रभुरे निमंत्रण करी घरे भिक्षा दिला बलभद्र भट्टाचार्य पाक करैला. Tapan Mishra invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take lunch at his home, and he had Balabhadra Bhattacharya cook. So Tapan Mishra was taking care of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He invited him home. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his stay in Varanasi, so he would take bath, come to his home for lunch prasad, and then take the darshan of Bindu Madhav. So that was his routine there in Varanasi. Bhikha kori Mahaprabhu korila shayana Mishra putra Raghu kore pada samvahana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his rest after lunch, the son of Tapan Mishra named Raghu used to massage his legs. Prabhu Rashishanna Mishra Savam Shekhaila. Prabhu Aila Shuni Chandra Shekhar Aila. The remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were taken by the whole family of Tapan Mishra. When news spread that the Lord had come, Chandrasekhar came to see him. So there's this another devotee, Chandrasekhar Acharya. So actually in Varanasi, these two devotees, Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Acharya, it is mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to this place, went to Varanasi basically to give mercy to these two of his devotees. Mishra sakhate ho prabhur purva dasa Vaidya jati lekhan vritti Varanasi vasa. Chandrasekhar happened to be a friend of Tapan Mishra, and he was long known to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his servant. He was a physician by caste, and by profession he was a clerk. At that time he was living in Varanasi. So because old time connection, Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, so both of them gathered to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Asi Prabhu pade padi kore narodana Prabhu uthi tanre kripaye koila alingana. When Chandrasekhara came there, he fell down before the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. The Lord standing up embraced him out of his causeless mercy. So Lord could understand that who is he, and he picked him up and he embraces him. Chandrasekhar kahe Prabhu bada krupa koila apane asiya bhritye darshan dila. So Chandrasekhar is so happy to see the Lord of his life in front of his eyes. What does he say? My dear Lord, you have bestowed your causeless mercy upon me because I am your old servant. Indeed, you have come here personally to give me your audience. Apana prarabdhe vasi Varanasi sthane Maya Brahma Shabda Vina Nahi Shuni Kane. Due to my past deeds, apane prarabdh. Prarabdh means the karmas, the activities what I have done in past, and the result of those activities have fructified now. So those activities for which I am getting the result now, those are known as prarabdh. So he is saying, due to my past deeds, I am residing at Varanasi. But here I do not hear anything but the words Maya and Brahma. So actually Varanasi or Kashi is the seat of Mayavadis. And so the Vaishnavas are not very happy there. It's a place of pilgrimage for impersonalists. So people who are genuine devotees of the Lord, they do not derive much happiness there. So that is why Chandrasekhar is saying that because of some wrongdoing, actually I have taken birth here, and in this city I do not hear anything. What I hear is Maya and Brahma. That's all. Shad darshan vyakhya vina katha nahi etha Mishra krupa kori more shunan Krishna katha. Chandrasekhar continued, there is no talk at Varanasi other than discussion on the 6 philosophical theses. Nonetheless, Tapan Mishra has been very kind to me, for he speaks about the topics relating to Lord Krishna. So actually in Varanasi, as I was telling, that basically it is the place of pilgrimage for all the impersonalists. So because of that, all what they discuss is the Vedanta. So they are all Vedantists and they discuss Vedanta. So as it is mentioned here, 6 philosophical theses. So you can refer to the purport here. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in detail about all the 6 commentaries or 6 school of thoughts, basically, not commentaries, 6 school of thoughts, philosophical differences are there, which was propounded by different rishis. And this is all a variation of Vedanta. So like Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Yoga, etc. So Sankhya Yoga, etc. So this is all mentioned in the purport of this verse. So actually Vedanta philosophy is meant for devotees. Actually Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, where he says that the end result of all the Vedas is to know me. But then people, they get so absorbed in these flowery languages of Vedas that they get deviated from there. So here Chandrasekhar is telling that everyone here talks about those 6 philosophical theses, but nobody discusses Krishna Katha. So I am grateful that at least there is this one Tapan Mishra who's very kind to me. And what is that kindness? So the best kindness or the best compassion one can show to other is discussing topics related to Krishna. निरंतर दुन्हे चिंती तोमार चरणा सर्वज्ञ ईश्वर तुम्ही दिला दर्शना. My dear Lord, we too think of your lotus feet incessantly. Although you are the omniscient Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have granted us your audience. Shuni Mahaprabhu ya bena Shri Vṛndāvane Dina kita rahi tara bhritya dui jane. My Lord, I have heard that you are going to Vṛndāvan. Please stay here at Varanasi for some days and deliver us, for we are your 2 servants. So now imagine, they are like the Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Acharya, they are like staying in desert where there is no rainfall, and suddenly this whole tsunami of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has reached there. So they want to absorb that for some time, and that is why in complete humility, but they are making a request that please stay here in Varanasi for some days so that we can have your association. We are your 2 servants. मिश्रा कहे प्रभु यावत काशी ते रहीबा मोरा निमंत्रण विना अन्य नामानि बा. Tapan Mishra then said immediately, see, devotees don't lose any opportunity. So the moment Chandrasekhar requested to stay in Varanasi, Tapan Mishra made another request. What is that? My dear Lord, as long as you stay in Varanasi, please do not accept any invitation other than mine. So one friend is requesting stay in Varanasi, another one is telling please take prasadam at my home. Please honor food at my place. मत महाप्रभु दुई भृत्यर वर्षे इच्छा नाही तबु तथा राहिल दिन दर्शे. Even though he had not made such a plan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained for 10 days at Varanasi, being obligated by the request of his 2 servants. So beautifully Krishnadas Kaviraj has mentioned here that Bhrityera Vashe. Bhritya means servant and Vashe means control. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the supreme controller, the supreme maintainer, the supreme proprietor, is being controlled by his 2 insignificant servants. He had no plans to stay in Varanasi. Like earlier, we have been reading since we started Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vṛndāvan, and some or the other obstacle has been coming and he could not go to Vṛndāvan. And now finally, ultimately, when he is going, he is almost about to reach Vṛndāvan. He comes in Varanasi, and these 2 servants, with all their love and heart, they request Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to stay. And that way they are controlling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu decides to stay there for not 1, not 2, but 10 days. Maharashtra Vipra aise Prabhu dekhi bare Prabhu Rupa Prema dekhi hoya chamatkare. At Varanasi, there was a Maharashtrian Brahmana who used to come daily to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Brahmana was simply astonished to see the Lord's personal beauty and ecstatic love for Krishna. Viprasa bane mantraya Prabhu nahi mane Prabhu kahe aji mora hana che nimantrane. When the Brahmanas of Varanasi would invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to lunch, the Lord would not accept their invitations. He would reply, I have already been invited somewhere else. So why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not accept any other invitation is that yes, definitely because Tapan Mishra has booked him for all the 10 days, but more so ever, if he would go to any other Brahmana's house and if he would have invited other sannyasis also, then they would be Mayavadis. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want to do anything with Mayavadi sannyasis. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Mayavad bhashya shunila hai sarvanash. Completely destroyed everything. Our devotion is completely destroyed if we take association of Mayavadis. So to avoid Mayavadis, and of course, to reciprocate with Tapan Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not accept any other invitation. এই মত প্রতিদিনা করে না বঞ্চনা সন্ন্যাসীর সঙ্গে ভয়ে না মানে নিমন্ত্রণা. Every day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused their invitations because he feared associating with Mayavadi sannyasis. So the Vaishnava sannyasis, they don't like to associate with Mayavadi sannyasis at all. So out of that fear, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not accept any other invitation. Prakashananda Shripad. Leave the video. Audio is clear. Am I audible? Yeah, so I think there is some problem with the video. It's all settled. प्रकाशानंदे श्रीपाद सभाते वसिया वेदांत पढ़ाना बहु शिष्य गणलाना. There was a great Mayavadi sannyasi named Prakashananda Saraswati who used to teach Vedanta philosophy to a great assembly of followers. So now what happens with Prakashananda Saraswati is a very interesting episode. And as it is already, time is almost up, so we will stop here and we will start with this verse 104 onwards from the next session, and we will see what happens to Prakashananda Saraswati. Does he get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Do they meet? And yes, so we will continue in the next session. So thank you all very much and looking forward to read your comments, which is like really, really wonderful. I go through each and every one of your comments, what all you mention, and that shows me your interest and your inclination and your affection towards Chaitanya Charitamrta. So please do that, waiting for the same, and thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Madhavaya, get